Okay then, so we're doing the review on the R1250, which is the unfaired version of the bike, and I'm just going through the screen. If you can see the computer screen here, it's a TFT screen on it. It looks really quite smart actually. Standard TFT, the same as all the rest of the stuff. A few different things. Wonder what sport gives you. Oh, there you go. It just gives you an indication of what brakes you're using and your rev counter. So, bike's only done about 300 miles. We'll scroll through. You've got navigation, media, and telephone, and settings, which is what we've already done a video about that and how difficult it is to connect to these things. It's got suspension settings. It's got auto. I have to start the engine first. Maximum and minimum settings, which is just the same as the GS's and GS Adventures. It's got sport mode, dynamic mode, and road. I've got it in road just because I've got it in road. But I really like this bike. It's really small, and you think to yourself, well, it's got a 1200 engine in it, a 1250, sorry. So it should be like a big lump, but it's really, really nice. It's really comfortable. Yeah, it's actually a really it's a comfy riding position on it. It's really light. I quite like it. Quite like it a lot. Switch gear is all the same BMW stuff that they got the GSAs and the RTs and all the rest of the stuff. It's a standard setup. Screen is a different colour to the other screens in the BMW range, but that's probably something to do with the fact that it's the R version. So the bike's got a quick shifter on it, which is really smooth. I love this bike. So nice. We're just coming past the Argyle Reservoir here, look. It's a good riding position, nice and comfy. It's not, you don't feel like you're being thrust up against the bike like some of these Street Fighter type bikes are. Very quick on the pickup. The engine is awesome. I've tried it. I was riding it before, and it pulls off in any gear. You know, it's just like, oh, I want to go. I need to go. And it's a lovely smooth engine. The exhaust sounds gorgeous. It's like a burble, and we've already said, you know, I don't understand why people put these extra exhaust pipes on them, you know, the aftermarket ones, because this sounds lovely. You know, why, if you've got 700 quid to waste, I don't understand why you do it. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Nice comfy riding position. I think these are probably GS handlebars. It's got all the bells and whistles you'd expect. Heated grips. It's got a thing for a GS to GS. Stop talking rubbish, Mark. It's got a thing for the Nav 6 GPS, and obviously that can be linked to your screen, so you get turn-by-turn GPS sat nav on the TFT screen. But as we've already said in videos previously, it's quite a complicated way of doing things, and I don't really think it's the best thing. But you can connect the Nav 6 direct to your helmet, and you can have, if you want to have that voice talking in your head, you can have that. It is a really smooth engine, very, very smooth, and delivers power so evenly. And the best thing about a boxer engine, as everyone knows who rides them, is the engine braking. The engine braking on it is phenomenal. Just like all GS's, I mean, you know, you get probably 3 times as long out of your brake pads because of the engine braking on these bikes. So it's got all the ABS things on it, as you would imagine. You can adjust the suspension. It's got electronic suspension, which is auto, max and minimum. We've already just we'll talk about the pillion and that and the position of the pillion, but you can carry a pillion on this, but I don't think they'll be that comfortable for a long journey. For riding this bike into town, it'd be an awesome commuting machine, in my opinion. As a tourer, one up, it'd be amazing. And like we said before, you know, you can take any bike anywhere you want. Just depends how fast you go and how, you know, how it's treated. But this would do just about anything that any other bike can do. I'm sure of that, and it would do it in very much comfy style. The quick shift on it is so smooth. I might not be making it look smooth, but it really is. And like I said previously, when you first pick up the bike, you go, oh, a 1250, you know, and the boxer engine, it's going to be heavy as Larry, whoever Larry is. But it's not that at all. The bike is quite short. It's got cast wheels. It feels very, very nice. The riding position's great. Everything about it I really like. This screen here at the front, if you can see it, you would imagine in a bike that's got no screen, that it would be very windy, and you feel it on your chest. And to be honest, the little fairing thing in front of the screen does a really good job of directing the wind over the top of your body. So even though I've got a peaked helmet on, quite often riding these kinds of bikes you get a bit of a draft comes up inside the helmet, but I haven't got any of that. Mirrors are good, the standard BMW mirrors. Unlike on some of the bikes we've tested, these aren't too bad. You can angle them out quite a way. I wish they would start putting the bit on the mirror where you can see your blind spots a bit more easily, a little curvature thing. So this has got LED rear lights, it's got LED running lights, and the main beam and main headlight are bulbs, bizarrely enough. But really big shiny exhaust, and we're looking at the exhaust before, and it seems to be very similar to the exhaust that's on the RT. I'm sure there's cross-pollination between parts in every manufacturer, but that's what it looks like. I do like the SOS button that's got here. Those of you who've seen our video previously about the SOS button will know how valuable that is. I mean, I think it's about a £400 option. Do you know what? I'd pay that £400 just for the fact that if you fell off, you know that BMW are going to come and get you. And the good thing about BMWs is their aftermarket stuff. The way they look after a customer, you know, I find that second to none. And if you're travelling, if you're preparing to do a lot of travelling, you know, these guys are going to come and help you out. They've helped us out so many times on tours with bikes that may have broken down, or we've had issues even on bikes that aren't BMWs. They've helped us out and, you know, replace people's bikes with other bikes. It's pretty good, and I think you get, for that service on a BMW aftermarket bike, once your warranties run out, I think it's about £350 a year. You know, it's not a bad deal. In fact, while we're testing this, I'll just give you a bit of heads up that the jockey wheel here, I hope you can see, is on my GSA, which is coming up to a year old now, is just being replaced. It started doing strange stuff, and they had initial problems with these jockey wheels when they first fitted them, that whether it was water ingress or dust ingress or whatever it was, but they've had to replace quite a few of them, and I think they've ironed that problem out on all the bikes now. Unfortunately, my jockey wheel might have been a Friday afternoon wheel. So, you know, sometimes you get on a bike and you go, oh, this feels really cool. This feels really cool. It grips the tarmac brilliantly. I mean, I know all bikes do, but this just feels like it wants to have a laugh. So the new 1250 engine it's a remarkable piece of engine. machinery, and I know people have said, oh, you know, are you going to change your bike for a 1250? To be honest, the difference between the 18 plate 1200 and the 19 plate 1250 is, as far as I can see, not that big a difference. I'm probably being very controversial there. I know it's had lots of things done to it, and it is a different engine completely in some ways. However, the people who I've spoken to who've gone from bikes that might be 2 or 3 years old to the 1250 have noticed the awesome difference with just everything about the bike. And I think, you know, it wouldn't be enough to make me change my bike currently. Not until it's due to be changed as normal anyway. But it's an awesome engine, and the way they tweak their engines all the time. I had a bike 5 months and put 8,000 miles on it and changed the bike out again to an exactly the same bike. But in that 5 months I'd had the bike, the difference in the quick shift was like chalk and cheese. So they're tweaking these things all the time, and that's why I'm saying the difference between the 18 plate and the 19 plate 1200 1250 is probably very small. The difference between a 3-year-old one is staggering. When I got on the bike, somebody had obviously been riding it previously and had put the heated grips on. BMW heated grips are awesome, and these were absolutely boiling when I got hold of them once they warmed up. There was an issue a few years ago, and I had a 13 plate GSA, and it was, the heated grips never seemed to get hot, and the reason was they'd taken the aluminium bars, and at the end they'd put they'd used aluminium handlebars, and so as soon as the bars heated up, the heat transferred down through all the aluminium, and consequently the heat left the grips, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So I think what they've had to do is put back metal inserts in the ends of the handlebars again to stop that happening. But awesome heated grips. Very easy to do, change modes and all the rest of the stuff on here. The cruise control works brilliantly. You can't use it below 30 miles an hour, but at 30 miles an hour it's pretty accurate, I think. You seem to keep up with the traffic, and it's a simple case of pressing it forward on the left hand side there, if you can see that, and it'll just stick to it. To knock off the cruise control, a little squeak on the clutch, and it'll drop off, or if you touch a brake it drops off straight away. And to reset it back to 30, all you do is pull the little lever back towards you again, and it picks up where it was, so it resumes the speed, and that's really quite nice actually. You can relieve your right hand. There's no vibes on this bike like there are on some of the BMWs we've tried. It's not vibey at all, it's very smooth, and the brakes are really sharp because it's a brand new bike, so it takes a bit getting used to. I'm on! Hey, let's go! Right, here today we're at the lovely Argyll Reservoir near Falmouth. Pan, is that a filming term?
Look at that. What an amazing place to be filming.
So
Now you want more lake?
right, we've got the R1250 BMW, and do you know what? It's a cracking little bike.
Is it?
Oh, it's like one of those 9T on steroids. It's really nice, which makes me think that if I was to I had a choice between a 9T and this, I'd probably go for this.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it's a 1250, but that wouldn't make any difference because I just think this is a better riding position. Anyway, it's got the 1250 engine in it with all that new mechanical stuff that they're wild about. It's really nice to ride, and it sounds gorgeous. But it's just got a bog standard BMW exhaust on it. I can't understand why people spend 600 or 700 quid on a...
Isn't that the same sort of cam they have on the R2?
I think it is. Might be.
I think I've seen that cam somewhere before.
There you go.
It's an RT cam.
But you know, I don't understand why people spend 600-700 quid on an aftermarket exhaust that does nothing apart from sound a bit louder. But this sounds really nice. It's a really burbly sound when it's going. It's lovely. TFT screen on it. Keyless start. I'm standing close enough. Different coloured screen to the GS's.
Oh wow!
There you go.
Do you think they've done that in the colours of the colour scheme of the bike, or is that just going too far?
No, you're probably a conspiracy theorist as well.
Oh, you just never know.
But bizarrely enough, when we've been riding this, there's very little wind. You know, normally with an unfaired bike, you get a lot of wind in your face. Well, actually, this little thing on the front here seems to do a really good job of taking the wind off the bike.
What, that little black thing?
That little thing there. It just seems to deflect it over you because at, 65 miles an hour, we're just coming along the country roads there. There was no wind, which is pretty cool. So, I like the bike. I really do like the bike. It's got, it's got a shaft drive. It's got cast wheels.
Let's have a look at that. It's not a chain.
It's not a chain. It's got...
Dun, dun, dun.
But you know what? I'm really pleased because there's so many bikes that are really nice and I quite like at the moment, which is a bit odd, isn't it?
What, including your new Africa Twin?
I wish. I wouldn't buy the Africa Twin, I don't think. I think I'll probably look at the 850 GS.
All right.
Because I think it's a bit of a nicer bike. The adventure version of it. It's got a
Nice.
24 litre tank. What are we talking about them for? That's another review.
Yeah.
Let's get back to this. So no fairings.
Yeah.
I think the fairing one, the one that's got the fairings, would be a much better bike, certainly for touring. But it'd be exactly the same sort of thing. It's just a really nice bike. There's not a lot to say about it. It's got all the same switchgear, cruise control, automatic lights. It's got the wonderful SOS button here, which we all know about.
Well,
GPS fitting.
That intimately, don't you?
It's got riding modes you can change to. It's got heated grips. It's got the standard BMW mirrors, which on this bike are actually really good.
Are they?
Yeah, fortunately the 310 we've got just sat on the other side of us.
They're really good. They just need
Yeah.
out a little bit.
So, seat is reasonably comfortable. So light the bike. I mean, you think, oh, it's a 1250, I'm expecting...
3 tons, isn't it?
I'm thinking a 1250 like a GS or something like that, bulky things. Yeah. It's really, really light. And it's so much so nimble on the road. It's really, really good. I said really, really a couple of times there. I'll have to stop doing that.
Oh, he's going to measure. He's got his measuring hand out.
Pillion seat.
Yeah.
Not sure the pillion would have much fun on here, but it's quite high. Big grip handles.
Yeah.
There's brackets underneath, but I'm not sure if they're for luggage or you can buy some kind of luggage. But they look a bit like that, don't they?
I think with that one there and those, they're very much like the luggage that you can get for the 800 GTs.
Oh, okay.
Stuff across that range.
Oh, okay.
1200.
That
now
sort of
1250 RS.
That makes it a nice bike. Yeah. Now, what would you use this for? Would it be able to be a commuter? Well, yeah, obviously. Would you commute on it? Easily. Yeah. All right. In its current state with a rucksack on, fine. It's nice and light. It's nice and narrow. A weekend machine, awesome. You'd be able to take it on a B roads, on a motorway. It'd be cool.
I think he's found another bike.
I haven't. I'd like the fared version of it because
Yeah.
I've seen the fared version on tours we've been on, and it's such a nice bike. I'm still not going to go away from a GS, but that's because I'm stupid, obviously. But would it be able to tour? Of course it'd be able to tour. You tour with any bike you can find. There's just nice little things about it. It's got the keyless fuel tank. Nice little protector there for the tank. I love the colour scheme. Colour scheme is awesome.
It makes it pop, doesn't it? It really does make the look of it. And it's the HP version as well.
There you go.
That's
Is that high?
Houses of Parliament.
Okay, there we go. Well, nothing comes out of there then of any use.
It should be brown, shouldn't it? That's because the sauce is brown.
Yeah. So there you go. It's got Pilot 4s on it, I think, or whatever they call Pilot.
Yeah, and it's got a Road Pilots.
Road Pilot tyres on it, really nice.
It's got cast wheels.
Yeah. Shiny exhaust.
Yeah.
Apparently that's important.
And then you get the 1250 post-twin engine, which is across a lot of the range.
Very powerful engine.
Is it?
I mean, on this bike, it's, you know, we've ridden it on the GS and the GS Adventure, and it's, you know, and I've done the off-road course on the GS. Really, really nice engine. This is a bit of a step above that though, because there's no weight with it. The bike is so light. So Pocket Rocket ticks all the boxes.
And what about the lights?
Lights?
Is it LED?
I think so. I haven't even looked.
LED.
I haven't even looked. Should we flash them at you? There you go.
Eyes. So we got LED, looks like daytime running lights, and then you've got bulbs bottom and top. So,
Really?
yeah, you've got a bulb here. And a
Oh
bulb
my
there.
word.
LED indicators, which, to be fair, the LED indicators they put on these BMWs are immense, aren't they?
Yeah. And I have found with some of these liquid cooled engines, because we've got blood bikes that are not the 1250s but the 1200 water cooled. Standard headlamp is a H7, but for these bikes they're H4s, and it might be the case on this, I don't know. Okay. So we've had bulbs popping straight away because people are going, oh, I'd like bulb H7s. So you need to read the manual. RTFM, as they say.
We don't do that.
No, we don't.
We don't do that. Hence the fact that we've not talked about Newton bananas and.
Well, we're getting so many comments. People are getting really worried about the fact that we're Torx screws and things.
Yeah, we'll put it up in a card on the screen.
And we'll try to put the right picture with the right bike and all this, let you know. But, you know, if you don't like it, there's another site probably somewhere else. We're not getting miserable though.
No.
All right, so I think that's about it for the bike. It's an awesome bike. Awesome bike. I'd like the fared version, but this is cracking. And if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe somewhere. Toby does all that magic stuff. And we'll see you in the next video.